I'm going to show you how to make this quick and very cost-effective natural lip balm for the whole family. Hi everyone, Sue here, welcome to my channel. If lip balm is one of your essential carry items, let me know by leaving me a thumbs up and in the comments tell me what your favourite brand is and why you like it. When I was looking for ways to use these upcycled contact lens cases that I made in a previous video, and I'll put a link to that in the description, I happened across a fantastic lip balm recipe that uses only natural products, and you can make it at a fraction of the cost of branded lip balms. Not only that, but you can keep reusing your containers rather than throwing away these single-use plastic lip balm sticks. You can make it in different flavours using your favourite essential oils or just leave it plain. So let's go down to the kitchen and have a look at what we need. 1.5 tablespoons of beeswax pellets, and then I've got some shea butter which is organic and unrefined, and I'm going to need a tablespoon of that as well. And then I've also got some organic coconut oil, and I'm going to need 3 tablespoons of that. The ingredients need to be warmed to melting point but not boiled, so you have to be very careful. It's a bit like melting chocolate really. So I'm going to use a Pyrex bowl over a saucepan of water, and I'm just going to measure my ingredients into there now. So 1.5 tablespoons of beeswax pellets, that's 1, and that's about a half, and then 1 tablespoon of shea butter. It's quite solid, so it's not going to really go into the measuring spoon particularly easily. Well, I reckon that's about 1 tablespoon, give or take. I've got quite a lot there, so I might be using that for other products later. And then I need 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. That does smell very coconutty. Again, that's quite hard, so I'm just going to have to measure it out by pressing it into my measuring spoon and get an approximation. Oh, that will be about 1. That's about 2-ish. That's about 3, if I get all of that in. I've got some water here which I'm just going to bring to the boil while that's over it. What do you think is going to melt first? Do you think it will be the coconut oil or the shea butter or the beeswax? My bet's on the coconut oil because it does tend to liquefy when the room temperature gets a bit warmer. Yeah, I think it's the coconut oil that's actually going first. Everything's gradually going though. I'll just leave that a little bit longer and then give it another stir. Looks like it's the beeswax that's going to be last, even though they were the smaller pellets. So hopefully once they're melted and then reset, that's what's going to help it keep its solidity. Right, I'll just remove that from the heat because that's completely melted now. So the first flavour I'm going to make is mandarin and peppermint. And I'm going to use 7 drops of mandarin. So that's actually a much more delicate aroma. And then 3 drops of peppermint, which can be a bit more pungent. Oops, I put 4 in. Never mind. And I'll just give those a mix to make sure that that's all combined. And I'll just give that a sniff. It's got a very nice... The peppermint still comes out a bit more than the mandarin, but maybe the mandarin will taste a bit nicer too. And that's already hardened a bit on my finger. And it's got quite a nice softening effect on my poor old hands. So that might be quite nice to rub in as well, but it is mainly meant to be a lip balm. I've got my 10 wells ready here to be filled, and I'm just going to transfer this into a Pyrex pouring cup. Before it solidifies too much. And pour that into the wells. Good job I've got loads, isn't it? It doesn't matter if it starts solidifying because you can just warm it up again in the water. Still I need more. Well, that's about it for these wells. So I had 13 and a half. And you can see that these have already started to solidify, but 30 minutes at room temperature or even quicker in the fridge and they'll be completely solid and ready to put the lids on. I've measured out exactly the same, but I've just measured them directly into my little Pyrex jug here, and I'm going to try to melt those in the boiling water directly. So that's melted down very well, and I'm just going to add some Rose Absolute essential oil to this one. I think that's enough because rose is quite pungent. And I'll pour that into the wells on the other side now. That does smell quite rosy. Well, trial and error, I would recommend doing it in one of these little measuring jugs. This is a 100ml one and it was just right for the amount, as it's far easier to clean. I'll just let those set for another 30 minutes and then I'll give my lip balms a try. I was just thinking how funny it is that if you use an aromatherapy oil in something, but it's for the lips, it becomes a flavour. But I'll just give this one a sniff. This is the peppermint and mandarin. The mandarin is very subtle and you can smell more of the peppermint, and you can also smell a bit of the coconut. I'll try this on my lips and see what it feels like. It's got a nice smooth texture. It slicks onto the lips really nicely, beautifully and smooth, and it does feel very moisturising as well. It's not an unpleasant flavour, it gives you that sort of pepperminty freshness but without a tingle, so my lips feel nice and moisturised but not tingly. On the other side I've got the rose. I'll just give that a sniff, and again that's a very delicate aroma with more of the coconut oil coming through as well. I'll try that one with a different finger. It's not too rosy or floral actually, and I think that's not going to be unacceptable for a man either. So there's just a choice there of two different flavours and scents. Now you may be wondering how much this has cost me. I've put on the screen some prices of various brands of lip balm, and there'll be single tubes. When I bought my ingredients, the coconut oil was £3.99, the shea butter was £5.99, the beeswax pellets were £4.89. I already had the aromatherapy oil, and that's optional actually, because the aroma of the beeswax and the coconut oil are actually quite pleasant anyway. Anyway, that was a total of £14.87. Even if I made no more than 14 cases and threw the rest of the products away, which of course I won't, these have only cost me £1.06 each, and they hold 8.1 grams. So the cost per gram is 13 pence, and that's almost a third of the cost of the cheapest brand of lip balm. So I think I've done pretty well there. So I've got quite a few lip balms here to use, and as well as putting one wherever I sit for quite a while, say at the computer or down by the television in the lounge, I'm going to give these to some friends and family, and I think they'll be quite pleased with a little bit of lip balm to stick in their handbags as well. So let me know in the comments if you've got a favourite lip balm and what your favourite flavour might be. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.